Yeah, hello everyone. I am Shahab, Dr. Shahab from Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi, and I shall discuss ethical artificial intelligence in business today. This what is published in Artificial Intelligence System and co-authored by Professor Dag Madsen, Dr. Nadeem, Professor Eric Cambria from Singapore. So before we start the discussion, let's have a quick view on the outline of the presentation. We shall discuss the background, of the ethical AI concepts in business, the gap in the literature, and then we shall discuss the conceptual framework, at attention, intention, and intervention, uh, and each component of the framework separately, and then a taxonomy will be followed, and use cases, some real life scenario we shall discuss in the light of our framework. To understand this concept very clearly, let's have three different examples where AI is implemented in hiring case, in banking case, and in customer services. In hiring, basically hiring algorithm screen resumes. AI screens and ranks candidates before a human ever reviews a resume. Similarly, in credit and lending, algorithmic underwriting sets loan terms, limits, and approval odds. And in the customer services, chatbots and moderation system represent the brand in real time. Where ethic is skipped, three known failures in each category. In hiring, Amazon case, an experimental recruiting tool systematically downranked resume containing the word women's favoring male candidates abandoned before full deployment. This case has been done with the Amazon card. Similarly, in the Apple card lending system, the card's underwriting algorithm issued women significantly lower credits limits than men with comparable profile. With a similar profile, but the credit limits to the women was a bit lower or significantly lower than to the men. This triggered a regulatory investigation. And in customer services, black box models can quickly optimize for the wrong metric, engagement, speed, cost, while eroding trust and violating legal standards. So when ethics was skipped, we know that these the three major failures in the different uh, sector with different applications of the AI. For this reason, we try to identify what is missing in the literature. Fairness is there, accountability is there, transparency is there, privacy is there, but the missing part is that there is no repeatable way to operationalize these principles across the AI lifecycle: design, development, deployment, and monitoring. To that end, our contribution is the AII framework: attention, intention, and intervention. The attention is a technical dimension, intention is normative dimension, and intervention is human process dimension. For example, the attention layer is used to detect bias, interpretability, real-time monitoring. Intention is basically ethical objectives and values encoded from the design stage. And intervention, it is structured human oversight, review, and governance. Here is further explanation of how these components are related. Basically, these are the three different dimensions for the three different owners. Attention is concerned with the developers and technical teams for bias detecting algorithm, interpretability techniques, logging, and real-time transparency monitoring. Intention is concerned with the senior management and leadership for principle and values, what the AI optimizes for, and whose values are prioritized when trade-offs occur. And intervention, it is a governance and oversight committee's responsibility. For example, context our human oversight infused with reflexivity, roles, workflows, review stages, and fail-safe mechanism. Now let's discuss each component separately. We shall discuss attention first. Basically, attention gives AI system the instrumentation to catch before it becomes a decision. We have three layers in the attention pipeline. The first layer deals with the data science detection. For example, shape values and attention maps, subgroup sensitivity scans. In the layer 2, it's the conflict flagging. The conflicts are flagged. For example, fairness test. For example, equalized odds, equal opportunity, true positive rate or false positive rate parity, and similar kinds of things are flagged. Privacy proxy checks, calibration and uncertainty. In the next layer, layer 3, ethical dashboard and SLOs, live metrics and threshold alerts, routed review workflows, and audit ready logs. Now, we just try to perceive this attention pipeline implementation in some use cases. Example: HR hiring use case. So, in that sense, we have these layers are implemented in HR hiring use case in such a way that first model highlights gender as a disproportionately salient feature. In the next step, fairness test shows lower female true positive rate and a bias is flagged or raised. And in step 3, this flag is routed to HR or ethics team for model adjustment and retraining. In this way, attention helps to keep the ethical AI intact. Then another layer is intention. Intention embeds the right objective into AI from day one. There are the four different layers in the intention pipeline. Layer one deals with with ethical objectives, defining the ethical objectives, stakeholders theory, fairness, transparency, and well-being, regulatory and cultural context. The layer two deals with the encoding objectives, for example, multi-objective optimization, weighted profit, ethic functions, fairness, privacy, and harm limits. And layer 3 deals with the governance and release gates, for example, ethics by design checkpoints, thresholds for deployment, stop, recalibrate if breached. And the last layer, the layer 4, is continuous alignment, that is updating with the shifting norms, refresh for new regulations, and stakeholders re-engagement. Now let's take an example for the intention pipeline, how this can be implemented in a real life scenario. Just we consider a real life example, for example, healthcare chatbot as a use case. So first intention sets as accurate and empathetic, not just minimizing call time. Then it optimization balances accuracy and empathy in the model success metric, and then deployment blocks automatically if the empathy score falls below a threshold value, below threshold. So the another component, intervention, it is basically human oversight, and the primary idea is human oversight must itself be structured and audited, otherwise it just reproduces the bias it is meant to catch. Again, we have four different layers in the intervention pipeline. The layer one is entry points for oversight, for example, model training, pre-deployment review, and runtime monitoring. The layer 2 is oversight mechanism, like human in the loop, for example, active review, human on the loop, monitoring, human in command, override. Layer 3 is reflexivity safeguards. It is diverse oversight panels, audit of human overrides, bias aware review time training, and cross verification protocols. Layer 4 is feedback and governance, where reinforcement learning with the human feedback or active learning, ethics audits and incident response, continuous reward training. Let's understand this again with a real life use case. I mean, like a credit decision review. So, if AI recommends $5,000 versus $15,000 in credit for similar borrower profiles, it is flagged by the system that the same AI is recommending different amount to the same profile people, the similar profile people. Now, when it is flagged, a human intervenes, a human reviewer steps in, detects the bias, and corrects the decision. And the override is logged, feeding fairness analytics into model retraining. This is how intervention can help in keeping ethical practices in the business. Yeah, this is a comprehensive diagram that's showing the prime taxonomy of attention, intention, and intervention. And this is the core of the complete finding. Basically, in the four different performance, I mean design, development, deployment, and monitoring, the keeping ethical AI perspective is very important in the real life scenario, and this is where our contribution lies. So, attention, intention, intervention, AII, all components perform their role for each of the phases, for design, for development, for deployment, for monitoring. For each phases, these components have their role to play. For example, for design, helps in ethical risk assessment, fairness and transparency requirements, stakeholder identification. The intention performs ethical part in phase by ethical objectives and success criteria, align AI goals with values and needs, identify acceptable use cases, and interventions keeps the ethical AI perspective in business for the design phase by mitigation strategies for identified risks, incorporate fail safes, establish ethics oversight. In a very similar way, attention and intention and intervention, they have particular activity in each phases of the development for the AI system, for the development as well, for deployment as well, for monitoring as well. This is what we have discussed in this diagram. For example, if we say deployment, so attention will have implement performance monitoring, provide channels for user feedback, and human oversights for criteria decision. In the monitoring phase, attention will help regular bias audits and checks, track model drift, and transparency by stakeholder reporting. In a very similar way, if we say we want to understand what the intervention is going to play for the development phase, it helps bias mitigation techniques during training, fairness and transparency requirements, privacy safeguards for sensitive data. So all the what the prime objective of the component is, they are playing the role in the development of AI system for each phase: design, development, deployment, and monitoring. So when applied across the business, the three pillars can be perceived separately, and an overview is there how it helps. For example, we take the hiring and recruitment. Already we have seen that Amazon has failed when there was ethical part missing in the implementation of a hiring system in Amazon. So the attention mechanism or attention pipeline will flag scores disparities across candidates by gender and race. In the intention pipeline, diverse will help for diversity and equal opportunity, and they make sure that these are explicitly optimized for the to achieve the optimization goals. And for intervention, recruiters review every flagged badge before a hire is finalized. Similarly, for credit score and lending case, attention, it helps dashboard test for equalized odds across approval decision. Intention, a multi-objective loss function balances accuracy with fairness. And in intervention pipeline, a review panel investigates and correct flag disparities. For chatbots and moderation use case, attention pipeline, toxicity filters and escalation triggers monitor every response. Intention pipeline, designed for accurate, empathetic support, not just speed. And intervention pipeline, moderators step in on high uncertainty or novel scenario. So the loop closes. Attention surfaces what intention defined as unacceptable, and intervention corrects it. This is basically the prime idea. And every correction refines both the monitoring pipeline and the objective that follow. Now, what it takes to scale? Scaling AII across the enterprise surfaces six real constants. The number one is cost and return on investment. Number two is ethics versus performance, the trade-off. Interpretability and complexity is number three. Number four is scaling human oversight. Number five, regulatory uncertainty. And number six, cultural and contextual differences. For example, ethical attention and human oversights are resource intensive. That we know this, right? So the case rests on fewer PR crises, avoided litigations, and stronger customer loyalty. Similarly, fairness constraints can trade off against raw accuracy. So closing the gap takes a cultural shift. Regulation makes some trade-off non-negotiable. Similarly, modern models are complex, explainable AI, interpretable attention weights, and neuro-symbolic checks keep oversights meaningful. Now, if we scale human oversight, human reviews can't scale to machine speed decision volumes. The answer is smart sampling, edge case focus, and AI assisted oversight. For the regulatory uncertainty, ethics by design today without a clear legal mandate, it risks over or under engineering against tomorrow's rules. For example, the EU, European Union AI Act, etc. And for cultural and contextual differences, what counts as ethical varies by market and culture. One thing which is ethical, is non-ethical in Indian context might be ethical in American context. So global deployment need region-aware objectives, not one goal standards. The bottom line is from principle to practice, attention, intention, intervention, how they constitute to ethical AI. Basically, attention operationalizes ethical AI, turns abstract principle into fairness threshold, dashboards, and audit trails. Intervention bridges principle and practices, closes the well-documented principle to practice gap in AI ethics, and intervention supports trustworthy innovation. It lets team move fast on AI without trading away accountability. So we hope the AII framework helps organizations build AI systems that are not only accurate and efficient but also transparent, fair, and worthy of public trust. Thank you all for your time and patience and listening to our this work. For any queries and collaboration, feel free to contact Professor Eric or me at the given email. Thanks a lot.